Hello and welcome to the Essential Gamer, but what's this, you ask? What's going on here? Why, Lee, why won't you let me in on what is happening to us? Why are we all gathered in this room? Oh, I can see your brains melting. It's okay. Honestly, just stop. All you got to do is think of this as an award ceremony, so get your best hat on and join me for the games that made 2020 a bit less shitty. Right then, as a disclaimer, there will be no next-gen games mentioned in any way in this list because I don't own any of them. Mr. Essential Gamer doesn't own it. Yeah, alright, don't point it out. Get fucked, mate. Next-gen or not, I've got a selection of games which have kept me sane during this year. Starting with Streets of Rage 4. Yeah, beginning of the year, Streets of Rage 4 came out. Can you believe that was only the beginning of this year? How mad to think that so much has happened in between. But to start the year off, we got this absolutely smashing sequel, which comes nearly 2 or 3 decades, I can't remember, but so long after the original IP had been forgotten, picked up again by new developers, treated with love and care and respect, and treated like a lady on a fine night out at a fancy restaurant because it was all manners. And look at it, it's just silky smooth, beating up punks on the Streets of Rage, just like I did on my Mega Drive when I was about 12. It feels amazing, it brings back nostalgia pangs in a way that only a true successor could have ever possibly done. And it leaves the door open for more Streets of Rage, and who the hell wouldn't want more I want more Streets of Rage at all times, and having this is just perfect. Fall Guys! Ultimate Knockout Season 3. So yeah, the bastard bouncing beans were back for a third season. This came out in the middle of the year when everyone was separated and they had no way of being together, and here we are with the opportunity to spend time with our loved ones for free on the PlayStation, no less. As a bean, I mean, it's great. It's a fun. It's the most frustrating thing you'll ever fucking play. Like, it'll drive you nuts. At points, you'll want to murder every bastard bean on the screen, and other times it will be the most fun that you've had with a group of friends in a stupid, nonsensical beanie world. And they did a bloody good job. Let's be honest, Mediatonic had no idea it was going to be as big as it was. I mean, releasing it for free on the PlayStation, they should have guessed that there was going to be a large number of takers, bearing in mind everyone was trapped in their homes, not able to go out and enjoy themselves. But who could have foreseen that at this point, Fall Guys would have been an absolute beast of a game. It was a massive release, a great reception, maybe not the best cheat detection to start with, but they got there with their islands and things, and now Fall Guys in Season 3 is in a better place than it's ever been, really, with a steady player base. People may meme that it's a dead game, but it really isn't. And if you haven't beamed anyone recently, you bloody well should. Ord is one of my, I'd say, standout games of the year, but these are not my favourites. These are sort of like the lower tier favourites. And what I like the most about Ord is that it reminded me of everything I used to love about choose your own adventure games, especially the books. I used to have loads of books. I'd sit awake all night reading the books, choosing my own adventure, saving the pages, going back, making other decisions. And that puts all of this in a quick fire third person thing that just made me feel good. Again, it was nostalgia. A lot of the things on this list are nostalgia-y based things. They really helped me to feel good about myself, and Ord really did make me feel good about myself because it was just fun. It felt harmless, yet it felt like there were stakes to lose, and it just gave me something to lose myself in a completely different world and a different way of being in a world, like 3 words at a time world. It's great. I loved it. Morbid, the 7 Acolytes. Another one which took me by surprise, to be honest. I didn't think I was going to like Morbid. I liked the way that it looked, but I knew that it had many elements of a Souls-like, and I'm not very good at Souls games. I don't know if you've heard about this, but I've played Bloodborne for about 2 years, and I've only beaten one boss. Yeah. That tells you how good I am at these. But what I liked about Morbid, besides its art style, because I really, really liked that, was the fact that it felt accessible to me as a Souls Nubian and a sort of roguelite novice. I'm not really the biggest player of those types of games, we shall say. But this one drew me in, and it's got charm, and it made me feel good when I did manage to hack these big beasties down with a couple of fell swoops of my sword. And what these games have to do is make you feel like you're progressing and feeling powerful, and this made me feel great, because I was just a badass bitch with a sword. Who doesn't love doing that? So, you know, it got on the list due to those reasons.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, now Lee, you couldn't possibly put this on the list as one of the best games of the year because it's a broken mess. The Metacritic score is extreme. Oh, Metacritic! Oh, I'm really bothered. Why don't you fucking shut up, mate? This is games that I enjoy, that I like, whether they're broken or not. Now piss off. So, Cyberpunk has appeared on the list simply because I have enjoyed the game. Yes, it's buggy. Yes, it's broken on last gen, parentheses, consoles. It's pretty fucked for most of the time you travel around, in fact. But in amongst all of the bugs and the mess is some of the best character writing I've ever experienced in a game. Some of the best linear RPG experiences to be had. It's not this vast, sprawling metropolis that they hoped they were going to have, but what they have got is a far more linear, story-based RPG, which is actually really good if you can get past all the bollocks. And yeah, there's a lot of bollocks. A lot of things aren't there. A lot of missed, opportunities. A lot of features that were removed. It's broken, but it's fun. In a way, sometimes when it works. Sometimes. And now it's time for some honourable mentions. Some games that helped along the way. First up, Dark. A horror puzzle game that I thoroughly enjoyed. I don't really go for horror games often. I don't really go for puzzle games often. I do enjoy them when they've got some sort of high-level brain power thinking to them. But what I liked a lot about Dark is that it sort of took all the standard horror fare that you'd get in these first-person horror games, the ones where you have to avoid everyone, there's no combat, but it puts it in this wonderful Tim Burton-esque side-scrolling world that it just pleases my eyeballs so much that it kept me playing. And it's rare for a horror game, for especially a horror puzzle game, to draw me in like that, and Dark did it. Yeah, good game. I like it. Next up was Worms Rumble, a return to form in 2020 for Worms of all the franchises. Who'd have thunk that Team 17 would reinvent the little wormy suckers, the little penile-looking, bomb-lobbing, gun-toting suckers, into this side-scrolling free-for-all that you see before you. It's an extremely good game. It's a lot of fun. It might not last you a whole evening, but there's definitely an hour or two of fun in there to be had with your mates. And for me, I had a lot of fun with this year. We're all fans of the Worms franchise here, and Team 17 have our vote of one of the better games of the year. Well, mine at least. And last for the honourable mentions, Hyperball Tournament, the future sportsings game where you're in the future sportsing, throwing a sports ball in the sports goals against the other sportsing teams in a bid to be the best sportsing duo. Yeah, it's one of them. It's a plain and simple, everything you can see on screen affair, and its simplicity, it's at its best. It's got the same sort of Fall Guys vibe where there's not a lot to it. It's simple to pick up. You can have some fun with your friends online or with your friends in your home when they're allowed to come round under tier 4, 5, 7, 12 restrictions. And yeah, another enjoyable game that I feel has gone slightly underappreciated this year, so I'm going to give it a nice shout.
go and play some Hyperball. I reckon you'll enjoy it. And now the weirdest game that I played in 2020. Saviour's Gang. Oh, Saviour's Gang. What a strange game you are. Where I played as Jesus, a Big Lebowski looking Jesus who's constantly on the phone to his stepdad and people like Satan and God, while being a guiding light for his disciple. I mean, it reminded me of Lemmings. It took me completely by surprise. I had no idea what this game was when I started it, and as I played through, it got weirder and weirder and more silly, and therefore made it onto the list as not only one of the better games that I played in 2020, but also definitely the weirdest. So you're wondering, this is the point now, yeah? The best game of the year, my favourite game of the year. Oh, what could it be? Oh, the wonders. Well, there's two. And the first one of the two is Chicken Police! Yep, it's a game about anthropomorphic chickens and other various animals wearing leather jackets. I don't really need to say anything else. I didn't need to say anything during my what is it of this game. I had so much fun with this point and click compared to others because it's so stupid. It's a 50s noir where everyone's animals in leather jackets, and I loved it. I had so much fun. It's such a good story. It's well written. It's hammy. It's silly. It takes itself far too seriously in a really funny way, and it was just it's almost perfection as far as point and click goes. If you haven't tried Chicken Police, you need to get on it. You need to have a go. It was one of my favourite games of the year because it's so fucking stupid. It's animals in leather jackets in a crime drama set in a noir 50s setting. It's so satisfying. Yeah, nothing else to say. Chickens in leather jackets. So Kratos, we understand that this is the announcement of the best game of the year for Teg. Who do you think it's going to be? I'll save you the trouble, Kratos. Ghost of Tsushima. Of course it is. The adventure of Jin Sakai, the lone samurai lord, as he tries to reclaim his home of Tsushima from the Mongol invaders. Where to start? Where to start with a game that, although it did have its announcements and its trailers and everything else, really didn't oversell in the way that some others may have. Cyberpunk. Coming from Sucker Punch, who absolutely nailed it this time round. They made one of the most beautiful open worlds that have ever existed, one of the most accessible in its lack of on-screen HUD fuckery. It doesn't bog you down. It's got a beautiful art style. It's really, really well written if you like your hammy, sort of old school Akira Kurosawa Japanese epics. And yeah, it's a samurai movie that you play, and that, if that's your sort of thing, then this would have been yours, and it was certainly mine this year. I thoroughly enjoyed everything from the combat to the sound design, just the way it looked playing on the PS4 Pro. It was super smooth and silky. Yes, there was a couple of bugs here and there, but did they detract in any way? Not in the slightest. This was easily one of the most epic single-player experiences that I had all year, in a year where I completed things like Spider-Man and Cyberpunk. This one stands out head and shoulders above them all, just because it's excellent. It's excellent. And with the added multiplayer coming in for free later on, Sucker Punch really told everyone what their plans were, and their plan was to make the best game of the year, which, here it is. Game of the year as far as the essential gamer, myself, anyway, Lee is concerned. Ghost of Tsushima. You're welcome. So there you go. Isn't there any Last of Us 2? Look, mate, I didn't fucking buy it, alright? I didn't buy it because of all the bullshit like people like you put on it, alright? Now fuck off till next year.